Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Thomas, working at NGB, National Guard Bureau, and I work in Warrant Officer Accessions with Chief Severin and Sergeant Rodriguez. And we'll just go into a little of what we do on a day-to-day basis and some of the operations that we plan on achieving in the near future. This is our agenda. We'll be showing the organizational chart, some of the section rules and roles that we do, current operations, future operations, etc. This is our organizational chart, and it is missing one person. But just to start from the top, we have Colonel Custer, who replaced Colonel Eulis, if you're familiar with any SMOMs or any signature blocks. Then we have Lieutenant Colonel Murray, which is our branch chief for Accessions. Then it's Major Abashan, who does current operations. Missing is future operations, which is Major Lango. Then Chief Severin is the Warrant Officer Section Chief. She has me down as Warrant Officer PDP, but I'm Warrant Officer Accessions Manager. Sergeant Rodriguez is our PDP analyst. Then we have 209 Whiskey coordinators out at different bases. We have Mr. Duncan at Fort Campbell and Mr. Dreyer at JBLM, which is in Fort Lewis, Washington. And then from the top, if you see the color codes, they're AGR, Title 10 AGRs. Chief Severin and Colonel Murray are OTOT, so they're on a one-time occasional tour for 3 years. They're both AGRs in their states. Chief Severin is from Georgia, Colonel Murray is from Texas. Then I'm from Georgia, Sergeant Rodriguez is from Virginia. Mr. Duncan is from Kentucky. Mr. Dreyer, I don't remember if he's from Washington or not, but they try to keep you in your location, which cuts down on the cost and they can keep you on the books longer. And this is very small, and I apologize for that. But some of the things that we do within our section are advise. I cannot read that at all. Advise on development of warrant officer accessions, attrition, and retention programs. PDP packet quality control and tracking. That's a very big one for us. Within our area, we try to give the units or the WOSMs in the states a 3-day turnaround for any packet that we receive in SMT. Meaning within 3 days, if we're in the office or we have any time out of the office, we can still access our computers through VDI. And we try to return a packet to you if there's any mistakes in it, or we try to send it up to proponent as soon as possible. And we're not in the business of telling you yes or no the packet is good. All we do is review our checklist and the items input in there and tell you if it meets the minimum requirement. We send it to proponent and let them return it to you all if it's anything wrong, if they don't meet the requirements for that proponent. Another good one off of this bullet point is develop and execution of WOSM training. Chief Severin has the warrant officer or the WOSM conference every year. Last year it was in New Orleans. This year, hopefully, or the next fiscal year, we'll try to be in Florida for it. But it's just a review of some of the things that we're going over in the warrant officer world. Improve communication and customer service to the 54. If you all are aware, we have a GKO page, we have a mail suite page, as well as email distro. We try to send out updates as we receive them. Anything that comes out down the pipeline, we try to get it out to you as soon as possible. This is also a big one that people seem to shy away from. AGRs and technicians are accepted at Warrant Officer Candidate School at Fort Rucker, even if they're not going to appoint. They still graduate, but they do not have to change their uniform, which is a new upgrade to that. They still graduate in their enlisted uniform if they're not going to appoint, and they receive a certificate saying that they have completed the course. Then, of course, they have up to 2 years to officially pin on. And as from the chart earlier, we named Mr. Duncan, Mr. Dreyer, but we have some new hires at Fort Riley, Fort Bliss. So Chief Lewis and Chief Scott. And then we have created a high school to flight school program. NGB was given 5 quotas for the whole duration. So that goes to basic training, it goes to WOCS, and to their WOBC. We have filled 4 of them already. So we had Illinois, Michigan, Utah, and South Carolina. We still have 1 quota left. As of today, I don't know if it has been filled or not because I'm not in the office. But that's a big deal for us because it's hard. If anybody has aviation in their state, they know how hard it is to fill those quotas, or they get filled so quickly. In between that time frame, soldiers lose interest and go somewhere else. And then something we'll be providing in the future is staff assistant visits. So any states that are red on the map, which I'll be showing next, due to vacancies or warrant officer strength, we're going to try to reach out to them, visit, and assist them in any manner that we can. That's putting packets together. If you have warrant officer symposiums or anything that you want us to assist with, we'll be there for that. And this is what we have right now. So if you look at some of these vacancies, this is as of July 3rd. Any state in red are deficient in some area that we'll like to visit. And Chief Severin's actually been to Hawaii, so they may not be red, they may be amber by now, because she completed 16 packets while she was there. 8 were submitted already, so 8 are in a pipeline to be submitted, so that will bring their strength up. I'm scheduled to go to Guam the first week of August, to assist with some of their issues. And as I understand, Guam doesn't have an actual WOSM, is where they're deficient. And that's some of the same issues in Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. All the islands pretty much have a one-man shop, a OSM, or someone doing all jobs, which you know is very time consuming. Specialty branch alone is a headache. So imagine trying to throw warrant officer with their special issues can be a problem as well. So some of our future operations, the AFCT pilot program was temporarily halted due to the civilian in that position was on medical leave, and I don't think they have a replacement at this time. Tape test is preparation. Chief Severin is working on getting that submitted to all states, where each state will be able to do their own tape test instead of sending them to remote locations. At this time, I don't know if she's purchasing the full test or if she's going to only focus on certain areas. So we're still in the process of getting that initiated. 09 Whiskey will be having these upcoming locations: Fort Bragg, Fort Hood, and Fort Meade. So SMMS is not run by NGB. We have a contractor who works the system. So anytime you have changes to your WOSMs, your CCWOs, or anything, we cannot fix those issues in the system. So it may still email them or alert them anytime a packet or anything is done. And we still see them. We can't delete them out. We can't do anything to it. So that's some of our delays in tracking it. And as you know, SMT goes down whenever it feels like it. So we cannot access packets and stuff just like you cannot access it. We don't have a master switch or button to turn anything off and on. Warrant Officer Accession affiliation bonus is $20,000. And we're working on a 5-year Warrant Officer campaign plan, which relates to this course, the Officer Strength Maintenance Plan. We're utilizing those skills and techniques to build our 5-year campaign, which we hope to increase the Warrant Officer strength by 2% each year for the next 5 years. And hopefully we'll be successful with some of the tools we're learning here. SMT has allowed for National Guard to automate and track, consolidate predetermination packets. In the past, it was by email. So with it being in the system now, we have more accountability on it. One thing to note in SMT, if you're familiar with it, anytime your packet moves from one bucket to another, it starts the clock over. So you may have it sitting in your bucket for 2 days, and then once you submit it, comes our bucket. It's only showing 1 day, but in your world, that's 3 days. So when you're telling us something's been up there for 15 days with no action, it's not necessarily true from our standpoint. So each bucket is a different time frame. In order to get access, you have to go in the system to request it and send us a SAR form. And we have our own predetermination checklist with SWAM 17-033, not what is on the USAREC website, which a lot of people like to reference. Chief Severin has sent out and placed on all of our media outlets a predetermination packet for the National Guard, which makes it easier. Proponent has agreed to what's in there. And this is the SMT process. So the packet starts at the state level, and it can sit in there as long as you want it to sit in there. If you make a mistake, you have any issues that you would like addressed, or you want the packet deleted, send us an email. We can terminate it and you can start over. From the state level, if you change any data on that soldier, if you change the state, it's no longer going to be owned for your state. It goes to whatever state that you assign it to. So anything from that point on, you will not be notified of it unless we catch it and change it back to your designated state. Some people lose packets and think that it's the end of the world, but we have ways to rectify that. So once it leaves the state level, it comes here to NGB. We inspect the packet, again, a 72-hour turnaround. We try to get it done, reviewed, send up to proponent. Unless it's missing anything, we'll ask you to send us that item, or we'll send the packet back to you to upload it again. From NGB level, it goes to proponent. We have no idea how long proponent is going to take. Some days it's a day, some we've seen it go up to 45 days. Just note that for proponent, if we have specific National Guard liaisons, that's not their full-time job, it's additional duty. So one good proponent is AG. They're at the schoolhouse at Fort Jackson, so they do it in between classes. On weekends or something is when we get the highest turnaround rate. There's no set time for them. All we can do is email them, just like you all email them, and ask them, hey, are you looking at packets? Is it a hold up? Have you not received it? What's going on? They'll give us some notice. From proponent level, it goes to the completed bucket. Once it's in the completed bucket, it has approval or disapproval memo. Please download those memos as soon as you get the notification, because some days they disappear and nobody can receive them, and sometimes they'll stay out there for up to 900 and something days, I think is the longest one. We also do the same, so we have an archive folder. If you absolutely cannot retrieve it, just ask us, or we'll go back to proponent and have them email it to us. Is that it? That's pretty much some of the stuff we went over. So this is how SMT looks. And again, I apologize for it being so small where you can't really see everything. But once you log on, these are the buckets. So they're state, NGB, proponent, and completed. So on this particular screenshot, there was 51 packets at the state level, 3 at NGB level, looks about 37 at proponent, and I'm sure that's like 572 at the completed bucket. And the system, as far as I know, has not been online very long, so those numbers may look low to you. We do have a lot of hard copy archives that we've been scanning and trying to keep up with, just so we have an active record. And when you input a soldier's social, it's going to show, don't know what I'm doing. Once you put their social, it will fill in their other information, but here on the state, is it? Pardon me. So when you see the state, as I stated before, if you change that, it's going to now route to that state. So be cognizant of that, or if you're receiving a soldier from another state, make sure you always verify that it's your current state, your current information, or it's going to route to that other person. And also on the checklist, we have a drop down where you can select what their MOS is. You can also do it here as what you're submitting a packet for, not their enlisted MOS. If you have more than one MOS, you have to do a separate packet for each one, unless it's within the same branch. So Signal, if you do Signal 255 Alpha, 255 November, you can put them on the same checklist because they're within the same house. But if somebody was thinking, maybe I want to be Field Artillery 131 series, and then I also want to do Signal, those are two separate packets because they're not the same proponent. Then we have where we can pull reports, and just like DPRO or any other system, it's outdated information. We pull it as a 2, but not necessarily as gospel, because we know the numbers can change based off the time frame that you're pulling it. So it's state level versus federal level and the reporting. So this shows a number of packets and approvals by state. Any questions for me at this time? Okay, that concludes my brief.
Thank you.